This week's edition of NJBI is Minding Your Business is brought to you in part by AT&T, helping family, friends, and neighbors connect in meaningful ways every day. By PSE&G, powering a future where people use less energy that's cleaner, safer, and delivered more reliably than ever. By New Jersey's community colleges, aligning education to build an innovative workforce. Find out how your business can benefit at njpathways.org. And by New Jersey Business Magazine, providing critical information needs for New Jersey's business community for more than 67 years.
Welcome to NJBI is Minding Your Business. I'm Bob Constantine. Well, did you know that one of the leading designers and manufacturers of American-made commercial furniture is from right here in New Jersey? Modern Line Furniture in nearby Hamilton has provided furnishings for premier hotels, casinos, businesses, cruise ships, and restaurants all around the world. And now we have the best seat in the house to get their unique story from CFO Yana Katlarova and General Manager Jennifer Perez. Ladies, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Bob. Thank you for having us.
I got to tell you, I'm so excited, but I'm also a little bit embarrassed because you guys have such great quality furniture and you're sitting on these seats. You can't see the chairs, but it's not what they're going to get at All right, so let's talk about Modern Line Furniture. Before we get into the types of furniture you have, let's talk about how you guys started.
So company started in early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
We first started as an export-import of residential furniture. Mm-hmm. And then we saw a huge demand of a commercial clientele. We decided to switch quality, do some research, do some R&D, and see what are the capability there.
Right.
And first we started importing it from overseas.
Okay.
Then demand grew over time, and the turnaround time was no good because you need to rely on the container shipments, which sometimes takes up to 12 to 14 weeks, and our customers need it quick. Imagine you have a grand opening.
Right.
Do you want to wait for 14 weeks
Right.
for your furniture to arrive? That's the last thing should be on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we start producing a little by little in our own facility in New Jersey. Back then we used to be located in Linden, New Jersey,
Right.
conveniently located close to the port and at
Mm-hmm.
the same time in the center of Jersey.
Right.
As demand grew, we just decided to search for new location, new facility, bigger, brighter, with a better employee spec, and then moved to Hamilton, New Jersey,
Right.
where we are now, producing 99.9% of our furniture under our own roof with the U.S.-made materials.
Wow, 99 foods. Ivory soap, great. Jennifer, let's talk about the type of furniture you create and provide. What are we talking about here when we talk about Modern Line Furniture?
So we produce commercial furniture for different types of establishments, restaurants, bars, cruise ships, hotels.
Mm-hmm.
We have great accounts with a lot of different hotels. And
Right, I have a list of them.
Mm-hmm.
These are you've had customer-based prestigious names like W Hotels, Hilton. Hard Rock Cafe,
Yes.
Ritz-Carlton.
Caesars.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that, we've talked about a lot of hospitality, but colleges and universities.
Universities, we even supplied Pepsi for the Super Bowl with a booth for their
Get out of here, really?
for their commercial space
Right.
at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So we did that 2 years in a row so far.
How about bowling alleys? Did I read bowling alleys?
We also do bowling alleys, golf simulating establishments.
Oh, okay.
So
That's great. Man, you to think about it, if you own a business, so maybe when you're starting a business, the furniture you have isn't top of mind. But let's talk about what it is to have that in your public space, this really, really nice, well done furniture.
If you think about it, that furniture is the face of any establishment. Mm-hmm. If you have a doctor's office, university, college, hotel, especially restaurant, nightclubs, lounge, we even have a lot of government contracts. So military
Really?
bases have our furniture.
Really?
So as soon as you walk in, furniture needs to be presentable, comfortable, have to be well suited for the establishment itself, because you can definitely differentiate high quality restaurant from a regular cafeteria once you walk in, as soon as you see the furniture. If
Right.
it's plushy, comfortable, large, luxurious, you know that the price tag will be different, that
Right.
the dress code will be different. So
Right.
we are the face of any kind of business.
Right. And you recently won the 2024 Business of the Year from our good friends at NJ Biz, which is very cool. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thank you.
And then just going back, you gave a brief history lesson, Yana, but originally this was a residential furniture outlet, right? So how did the change happen?
Change happened with the demand. And it's a lot easier and more efficient for us to work with the commercial clients.
Right.
So residential is great. It's a great market, great potential. But we are targeting better quality materials and better durability and maybe something not as comfortable but very durable for commercial. And commercial clients, they basically have a larger accounts and the ticket is larger than any residential business we ran before.
And Jennifer, question for you. Do you find that these places, these businesses come to you, or are you going to them and say, hey, look, here's what we have, or are people, going to your website and that's how it works?
Well, we have a great marketing team, so we do get a lot of traffic from our marketing, but
great.
most our customers come to us with a plan or a floor plan, and we start from square one, first interaction with the customer. Then we see the whole process through with the customer. We create AutoCADs for the customer and then show them what their space would look like with our pieces of
So that's what an
furniture.
AutoCAD is. You basically can almost get like a rendering kind of thing.
It's like a schematic of the rendering.
Got it. And you take it from, is it something that could be done? You don't have to be in New Jersey to do it, to get that kind of information. You can do it all online.
Well, as long as we have their floor plan and their measurements of their space, we can set them up with any type of furniture that they're interested in, whether it's booths, single chairs, dining tables, all different configurations we have.
Right. And let's go to now COVID. You guys are getting pretty well established. How did COVID impact your business?
Actually, believe it or not, but we were not badly impacted by COVID. If
Okay.
anything, it's brought us bigger accounts and it's helped us to create a personal relationship with customers. A lot of big companies who, had a budget, had a help from the government and wanted to use this time to refurnish or use this time so they don't just stand shut down. They contacted us. They didn't have access to designers. They didn't have access to distributors. They didn't have access to any kind of outside help. So they call us directly and we guide them by hand. As your previous question, once customer calls and reach to us, we take his personal cell phone number. We can show him a tour of our facility. Let's say if you're in Nevada or California, you cannot physically come and visit our location, but we can always show you a video tour of our location, explain to you what kind of materials we use, guide you all the way through, starting from colors, sizes, capacity, and all those
What I
questions.
loved about the website, when you go, you have the selection of, the upholstery, what kind of stitching or a tufting, I guess you guys call it, and then the bases you can change, right? I mean,
Correct.
so is anything pretty much made to order?
Yes, every single order is made to order, and it's
Wow.
fully customizable.
Wow, and it's all done in Hamilton.
Correct.
Yes.
That's amazing. Tell us a little about the factory staff. Like, what is the process once they get an order? Like, do they know how to do it because they've done similar things, or do they have to make a unique plan for everything that they create?
It's a combination of both. So sometimes when customer comes in and they have a very short turnaround time and they don't have a designer on teams, they want to pick something from our collection. Then once this goes to our factory facility, people already basically know what they're doing. They know how to scope it, how to engineer it, how to create it from scratch and everything. But if customer wants to customize something, we have an architect on staff, an engineer. So we go to him and see if it's even possible to do so from a structural point, if it makes sense, if it's going to be safe to use in a commercial establishment. Then once this all gets approved, everybody is excited about new project.
How about the quality of the material? I laugh a little bit because I know, like, if this stuff's going to a nightclub, you know it's going to get spilled on. If somebody's having a real good night, it's going to be walked on by somebody. So it's got to be really durable, right?
Yes, we have customers that have women walking on our furniture with
is
their
that right?
heels. Yeah,
With
and we
heels?
have no issues with our furniture.
That's amazing.
So it's very durable, it's great. You got to
And
come down and check
sometimes,
it out.
I'm sorry. Sometimes the restaurant owners come in and they said, hey, at the night I'm turning into lounge seating. So I would like the ladies to sit on the back of this booth. Can you somehow reinforce it? It's very important to communicate with the customers and know exactly where and how they will use the furniture. We can do basically anything as long as we know what customer needs.
Do you guys export this stuff at Modern Line Furniture to like internationally?
Yes, we deliver it to the freight forwarder to the borders of U.S. and then customer pick it up from there. It's going to the islands, Canada, sometimes Europe.
Yeah. I'm curious about the style of furniture. Is it different from businesses ordering from the U.S. versus international? Do they have different styles or preferences?
Sometimes materials they like to use the same because we're using very durable materials. But sometimes if it goes on the island, colors will be brighter, or some kind of unique styles will be introduced. But basically, people love what we have on the website and they try to implement it.
Do you ever get an order and they have an idea for a color scheme and you're like, I'm not sure if that's going to work. Then you put it together and you're like, wow, that looks pretty good. Has that happened?
Mostly comes from designers. Sometimes they think really outside of the box and we don't see how it fits in customers' establishment, but they know better. They know the color of the walls, the wallpapers they will use and such.
I'll ask both of you this. I'll start with you, Jennifer. Where do you see this company? You've had this great growth since like 2000 now. Where do you see this company 10 years from now?
I'm hoping to see us grow and get a bigger space, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, because we make so much furniture and we do it so fast. I know we can grow and get bigger.
That's amazing.
It's awesome, yeah.
What about you, Yana?
Definitely planning to grow, definitely planning to build a better relationship with our local vendors. It's very important for us, and I hope a lot more factories and companies will be opening here in New Jersey and all over the US so we can use our material, everything American made, proudly. And grow and deliver more government contracts, more military contracts, and see our furniture everywhere in the future.
Yeah, I think folks, like I said earlier, a lot of businesses don't think aesthetically about their space, how it looks to it, because they want to, dollars and cents, right? But you can really make a splash and make an impression with this high quality furniture.
100%, especially that a lot of times furniture comes last to your mind. You will not believe if you build in a new restaurant, you think about the structure of the restaurant itself, passing all those regulations and fire department and everything. And then once they're ready to open, even the menu sometimes is created, but they're like, what about the furniture? How many people we can fit in the space and what can we use? So then they come to us and we make it happen.
Be honest, since you've been in here, have you been thinking about how you can change the studio?
A little bit. Especially those chairs.
Right. All right, you can make us a deal. We'll see how we can do. All right, folks, so if you're looking for a business that makes really well-made, really attractive furniture, and it'll take your public space to the next level, I highly recommend you go to Modern Line Furniture at modernlinefurniture.com. Go with Jennifer and Yana. They'll set up an appointment for you. A visit.
Come and visit our showroom in Hamilton, New Jersey.
New Jersey, all right. Sharing is caring, folks. These ladies are great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, we'll be back right after these words.
Did you know advanced power strips with built-in plug load management features cut all power to devices that still draw energy when turned off? Plus, there are rebates for switching. Believe it. For more, connect at bizsave.pseg.com, your trusted partner in energy efficiency.
Calm before the storm? No, thank you. This is Jim's time to shine. And Mike's. And Jennifer's. Helmets? Check. Drones? Check. Checking that thing we just checked? Double check. We ain't got time to chill. We're out here driving this thing. This is when we get to work. To keep you connected. No matter what. Connect before the storm. Change how we weather them. Connecting changes everything. AT&T.
Welcome back to NJBI is Minding Your Business. As we turn towards education in the state, we see New Jersey public charter schools making recent and significant testing achievements, particularly in under-resourced communities. And here to tell us all about it is the president and CEO of the New Jersey Public Charter School Association, Harry Lee. Harry, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Bob. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You do great work over there. Before we get into these testing results, I do want to ask you about New Jersey public charter schools. How many of them are in New Jersey currently?
We have 86 public charter schools in the state of New Jersey. 86,
and how many students do they represent?
We have 63,000 students with another 30,000 on wait lists.
Wait lists, oh my goodness. So they're in demand here is what we're...
Absolutely. Parents are voting with their feet.
Right, very good. So what is the mission of the association? Before we get into the testing results, which are fantastic, New Jersey Public Charter School Association, what's the mission and what are the core values?
The mission of the association is we are a policy and advocacy organization, and our mission is to ensure great public schools through the cultivation of more public charter schools.
Okay.
And our core values are excellence. We want to make sure that our schools are excellent in terms of student outcomes and performance, as well as equity. We want to make sure that we get fair funding, as well as being treated fairly on facilities as well.
Right. And so I think when it comes to charter schools, sometimes people think right off the bat, oh, private schools. Not the case though, correct?
Charter schools are public schools.
Right.
You cannot take a test to get in. There are no special requirements to get in. They are public schools. It's a random lottery process, so anyone can apply within a district.
Okay. So I mentioned at the start, the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment scores for 2024 basically showed that students tested in grades 3 through 11 show that Black, Latino, and economically disadvantaged students who are enrolled in New Jersey's public charter schools are outperforming their peers. What can you give me some more color on this? What's the greater detail?
Absolutely. Most of our charter schools are in our urban communities. 90% of students in charter schools are kids of color. And Black, Latino, and low-income students in public charter schools outperform their statewide counterparts in every single grade and subject.
Wow.
And so one example is the city of Newark. We have 20,000 public charter school students in Newark. 80% come from low-income backgrounds. And for the second year in a row, our charter students in Newark are outperforming the state average in reading.
Wow.
And so let's take a step back and think about that. We have what many say is the top performing public education system in the country. And we know that there's variation across districts, right? So more affluent communities are probably doing better than the less affluent communities. But Newark charters, where 80% of the students come from low-income backgrounds, are outperforming the #1 public education system in the country.
Wow.
And so that is something that should be celebrated and studied, and really just kudos to the great work of teachers and students in Newark.
And did I see other things in other cities besides Newark? Jersey City, there was a school, where's my notes here? Learning Community Charter School in Jersey City. They've also had some great numbers too.
Learning Community Charter School in Jersey City is one of the most diverse public schools in the state. As you know, Jersey City is one of the most diverse cities in the country. And Learning Community Charter School, they have students speaking 50 different languages within that school.
Really?
And they are outperforming the state average by 20 points or more in reading and math.
Right. So, Harry, what is the kind of the secret sauce here? What's behind the success of these programs?
So charter schools are the most accountable public schools in the state of New Jersey. I think that's factor number one. They run on contracts with the New Jersey Department of Education.
Okay.
So if a charter school is not performing,
Right.
they can be closed.
Okay.
So that is one major difference. The other piece is autonomy. Our charter schools have more autonomy than regular public school districts. That's autonomy over curriculum, over staffing, and over budgets. And let me give you an example of this.
Okay.
We had a charter school in Newark, KIPP, New Jersey, and during the pandemic, we know that schools shut down for a long time.
Yeah.
Many of the parents in KIPP, New Jersey and Newark were essential workers. They were nurses, they were home health aides.
Right.
And they could not be with their kids during the day to help them on the computer.
Yeah.
I had a child in kindergarten during that time. Let me tell you,
I know.
it was quite the experience.
I'm with you. I didn't have a kid in kindergarten, but he was like in 5th or 6th, and like, this is rough.
It was difficult, but what KIPP, New Jersey decided to do is they did kindergarten at night so that parents could be with them. And that's the flexibility that charter schools have, that their staff was willing to go on the computer at 7 p.m. at night for a couple of hundred kindergartners who did not have the ability to be in front of the computer because their parents were working. They may have had an older brother or sister taking care of them, and they weren't listening to those older brothers and sisters.
Yeah. That's funny. And when you talk about autonomy, does every school kind of pick its curriculum, and how do they arrive at that?
Yes, curriculum has to be aligned to state standards, and so we are still under the purview of the Department of Education, but charter schools tend to pivot more quickly. So if there are certain curricular elements that aren't working, they can pivot. They have a board of trustees that's independent and a nonprofit board, and they may switch that curriculum based upon data that they're getting. And so one size does not fit all, and I think one thing that our charter schools do that is excellent is that they personalize learning for for students, and they tend to have a longer school day and longer school year. And so on average, charter schools are spending 20% more time in the core subjects than district schools. They have a longer school day. They start earlier, they end later, and they may have more than 180 days in a year.
Okay. That leads me to the question I was going to ask later, but are the kids who are on this wait list, are they aware that they're going to have a longer school day or a longer school year? I don't know if that's ever a factor.
Well, there are 30,000 students on wait list today, and they want that opportunity. I think it's very helpful for parents, especially working parents, when they can drop their kid off a little earlier before 8 o'clock and pick them up at 4. I think it's very helpful. As a parent of 3 children in school right now, it is absolutely a benefit.
And do the charter schools typically try to recruit parents, or do the parents just come to them directly? What is it?
Yeah, charter schools must recruit parents from a cross-section of the community school age population. And so they are serving all types of students within a district. They have to advertise widely. In fact, many of our charter schools actually conduct weighted lotteries, meaning that they give an advantage, an extra ticket in the lottery for those who are special needs students, English learners, and low-income students. So they get a greater chance to attend the charter school than someone who is less, who is more advantaged.
Right. And sometimes I've seen interviews with you, Harry, and I think when we talk about quote unquote normal public schools, I don't think you guys have a us versus them mentality. It's more about just providing more opportunities for kids, different opportunities for kids. Right?
Absolutely. One size does not fit all when it comes to public education. We need to make sure that every single child in the state of New Jersey has access to a great public school that meets their individual needs, and parents need options. And so we see this as adding to the public education landscape. And I think what we've heard from across the state, from not only parents, but policymakers as well, is that we need to make sure that every single child gets access to a great school.
Yeah, actually, we're talking, Harry, I was wondering, kids at charter schools, do they have uniforms like a private school? Or?
Some charter schools do, and some district schools do also provide uniforms. I think some of the benefit of that is that there's less bullying, right? Depending on what clothes you have, and it just decreases that conversation.
That is totally true, by the way. My son goes to a Catholic school, and they abide by that they say there's less bullying, and it is totally true. It's unbelievable.
And a lot of district schools are actually adopting that as well.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
That's true.
What do you think the biggest challenges, Harry, is for New Jersey charter public schools?
The biggest challenge we have right now is facilities. Right? We do not receive facilities money from the state.
Right.
And so on average, charter schools spend about 10% of their operating budgets on facilities. That's about $2,000 per student for every single student in the charter system. And so that is less money going to teacher salaries, less money going to technology, and less money going to resources. And we want to get more money in the classroom. And so we have charter schools that are in buildings that are over 100 years old. We have more than 30 of our schools in buildings over 100 years old. And we tend to be in older buildings, in Catholic buildings, and we're renting a lot of facilities. And so we need support because of some of those challenges.
Right. And so the New Jersey state budget, which Governor Murphy has recently proposed his budget for FY26, there's not a line item per se for New Jersey public charter schools, correct?
So there is a line item for facilities for emergent projects and capital maintenance needs. And so in the current budget, there is money for SDA district schools to receive funding for emergent projects and capital maintenance needs. And there's also a line item that was cut from last year from $9 million to $4 million for charter schools for emergent projects. And so this is for schools with broken boilers, windows that don't open, HVAC systems that need repair, and our schools absolutely need this funding. We need to make sure that every single child in the state of New Jersey is in a school building that is safe, secure, warm, and conducive to learning. Right? We want to make sure that every single child, no matter where they go to school, whether it be a district school, a magnet school, a parochial school, a county vocational school, or a public charter school, has access to these funds so that we can put them in the right learning environment. And so we're asking for the governor's office, as well as the legislature, to increase that line item from $4 million to $9 million is what we got last year.
Right. Okay. So it went down $5 million.
It went down $5 million. Our district counterparts did not get that funding cut, and we need to make sure that there's fairness and we're treating all our students the same way.
Right. I wanted to go back to December, Harry. I remember Senator Vin Gopal held a meeting at the State House to evaluate a 30-year-old law. What was it called? The Public Charter School Law?
Yes, the Charter School Act.
I wanted to see where your association came out on that. What were you advocating for? And what's coming up next for charter schools in New Jersey?
Yeah, one thing that came out of the hearing that we found optimistic was that there is widespread support that public charter schools are an important part of the education landscape in New Jersey. We are now serving 1 in 5 kids in our schools development authority districts.
Wow.
That's a significant number.
Yeah.
And the charter law does need to be modernized after 30 years.
How so?
We believe that there need to be changes on the length of how long the charter contract is for high-performing schools,
Right.
as well as lower-performing schools. Right now, charters receive a 5-year contract if they are reauthorized. We believe there should be a 3-year, a 5-year, or a 10-year renewal, depending on the success of the school. We need to focus on differentiating that for our schools.
And how long is the renewal now?
Right now, it's a 5-year contract for schools, regardless of performance.
Okay, and what goes into a renewal process? Is it showing scores? Is it showing attendance? What goes into it?
It is a lot of accountability. I'll say this. And
well, you mentioned accountability, right?
I don't think folks know this. It is a full day site visit for every single school that is up for renewal.
Wow.
It is interviews with the school administrators, the teachers, the board of trustees, students, and parents. It is a full review of the curriculum and curriculum documents and a document review as well. And so it is a comprehensive process. Our schools spend the greater part of a year preparing for this renewal visit because it is such high stakes and it is high levels of accountability.
Yeah, and I'm sure that bureaucracy is challenging, but at the same time, once you get that renewal, I'm sure when the parents come, the school can say, hey, look, this is all the things we just proved to the state. We're good.
Absolutely. It is a high bar that the state sets, and we agree with that bar. It is a privilege, not a right, to operate a charter school in New Jersey.
Right.
And we have some of the highest standards in the country.
Okay. So in closing, Harry, I've always wanted to know, if you come back here in a year or two, what growth would you hope to see from New Jersey public charter schools overall?
We want to make sure that high-performing charter schools have the opportunity to serve more students, right? And we want to make sure that everything that is done with charter schools when it comes to reauthorization or opening new schools is a merit-based process, and we take into account community demand and community need for charter schools.
And it doesn't seem like that demand's getting any smaller.
Absolutely. Parents are voting with their feet.
Yeah.
We know that there's widespread support in especially our urban communities for more options for parents, and charter schools are doing a great job, and they will continue to do so.
Yeah, well, you do a great job for the public charter schools. This is Harry Lee. If you want to learn more about the New Jersey Public Charter School Association, you can check them out at njcharters.org. Harry Lee, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Bobby. We appreciate it.
Okay, and thank you for joining us on NJBI is Minding Your Business. We'll see you next time.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping. And whispered in the sound of silence.
Calm before the storm? No, thank you. This is Jim's time to shine. And Mike's, and Jennifer's. Helmets? Check. Drones? Check. Checking that thing we just checked? Double check. We ain't got time to chill. We're out here driving this thing. This is when we get to work. To keep you connected, no matter what. Connect before the storm. Change how we weather them. Connecting changes everything. AT&T.
Did you know cleaning and tuning your furnace, burner, boilers, and flues can save you energy and money? Plus, there are rebates for that. Believe it. For more, connect at bizsave.pseg.com, your trusted partner in energy efficiency.
Find out how your business can save at njbia.org.